All right.
Hey, Nick, why didn't Eric Wilson work out here?
Well, again, we had some guys that, with Davion developing and doing some good things that we wanted to get him more playing time, and then on special teams, obviously when it comes to the backup linebackers, they're such an important part in special teams, and they just not that Eric. Didn't play well on special teams or didn't do his job when he was in practice on special teams. But the other, Sean's really flourished on special teams, and Alex is their special teams captain. And so, obviously we're sad that it didn't work out here with Eric, but he did come in. He filled a role for us for a time being. However, like I told him last night, I'll always be grateful for what he contributed to this, to the organization, to the culture that we're trying to build. He's a relentless worker. He works so hard, and he loves football, and I love that about him. And anytime you have to say bye to a player, whether for whatever reason, you're always sad about it. So obviously I'm sad that didn't work out, but those are the reasons why.
Nick, you have 9 corners on this roster now. What did you like about Vincent, and what's the plan for all of those young players?
Yeah, at the premium position like that, corners. There's so many guys that don't. There's so many teams that don't have corner depth, and so we're just like we think about with the offense and defensive line. That's another position right there at cornerback that we want to build depth on, and we want to get the young players in that we feel good about, and and he's got great speed, and we're excited to get him, and he had a great preseason, and there was a lot of things we liked about him in the pre-draft work, and so excited just to build on that. I know our numbers are where they are, but I just think that's just such a premium position that you want that depth, you want options right there to be able to develop into it. And so we're excited to have him, really excited. The EB coaches, the defensive staff, myself, Howie and his staff, we're just really excited to have him.
How valuable is that to have veterans like Slay and Nelson to kind of teach these young guys to bring along?
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge to be able to have those guys that have made plays in this league and that have done it for a long time, to be able to help develop those guys. And so we all play a role in developing our players here, right? We all play a role in it, right? Everybody within the building, from everybody in the building, and then the coaches, and then the players, just the good players there, they have a big time opportunity to help them too, because when you teach a player things, you always want to teach a player how to do different techniques and how something works within the defense. And so what do you do as a coach? You show them tape, and you show them things, and you try to teach them the ins and outs of the offense or the defense. But what a valuable asset it is for the guy that's actually for a guy that you're trying to teach, to actually go ask the guy who's been lining up in that same position. I mean, it's just such a big asset to have. And when you made a lot of plays in this league and you've done it for a long time, your words carry more weight. That's definitely the case here with Slay and with Steve.
Was Jordan Cox a part of trade discussions yesterday?
Again, I know there was a lot of rumors there with that. I'm just really happy that Fletch is still on this football team. And we're going to be able to build upon the big time performance that the defensive line had the other day, and they've had some really good games here, and we know that's a strength of our team, and Fletch is a huge part of that. He's been a huge part of that for a long time. So again, rumors will be, I can't comment on rumors, but I'm just happy that he's here, and I'm happy that he's continuing to be part of this organization.
Did you have to talk to him at all, like during the day?
Anytime stuff like that happens, and yeah, you just always want to. My biggest thing is just try to communicate with everybody about everything, and that's Howie's approach at it as well, to be able to communicate through all those things, and whether it's a trade, whether it's something personal that somebody's going through, anything, we just want to be there for our players to make sure they know that we're there for them, and be honest with them with everything that's going on.
Nick, if you look at Jalen's passes this year, the dispersion of where they are, they're overwhelmingly to the right side, to his right. He doesn't throw to his left very often. Is that something that you would like to correct? Is it something that you worry about? And if so, how do you go about doing it?
Yeah. Again, there's different scenarios of where the reads take you, right? And we're going to have things designed for different parts of the football field. without getting too much into it, we want to always do what's where he excels the most. But again, you don't want to do too much where, you have a tell to the defense. Again, different reasons bring them to different places with the football. There could be something that broke down in the pass play. There could be something with the read that took it away from the middle or the left side. It could be something that we're setting up, that we don't want to let a good rush happen. We're playing Bosa this week, and so the play might be designed to one way because Bosa's right there. But again, I say all that to say, but we never really, we don't want to show our cards in anything that we do. So we're constantly trying to make sure that we're balanced and fit out. But there's different reasons why the ball goes to different places.
You've seen before, had experience with?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're getting again, I don't pay a ton of attention to a lot of that stats. If it's going to help us in a certain way, I will. But so I can't say that I've paid a lot of attention to that in the past, or maybe I haven't paid attention to it in the past because it wasn't an issue in the past, right? And no one's brought up the stat. So yeah, but again, in anything that we do, run pass, where the ball is getting completed, who the ball is getting completed to. Again, we want to get the ball to our playmakers, but again, if you're only throwing to Devontae, right, then, or if you're only throwing to Quez, or if you're only throwing to Dallas, then teams can get a beat on you. So we're trying to stay balanced. We know how smart defensive coordinators are in this league. We know how smart linebackers are in this league, and we know how smart defensive backs are, defensive linemen, etc. And so we have to do what we can do. We have to do our best to make sure we're balanced in everything that we do.
When you've got 3 wins on the road, but you're winless at home, 0-3, have you spoken to the team this week about getting it going at home and getting a home field advantage going?
I just think it's a coincidence, obviously, right now. When we won on the road, we played good. When we didn't win at home, we didn't play good, right? Or when we lost on the road. So, we know how important that home field advantage is. Again, everything in this league matters, right? The parity in this league is so tight, right? We see it every week. We see teams that you don't think should win against a certain team, and it's a close game, or they win. It goes the opposite way because the parity in the players and the coaches in this league, the parity is so tight. I think that's why it has the following it does. So when everything matters, home field advantage matters, right? Where you stay on the road, where you sleep in hotels matters, how you take care of your body, what you put in your body matters. Like all these little things matter. So as coaches and as players, you're trying to utilize all that. And so home field advantage matters, right? The home crowd cheering you on and being loud when the offensive on the other team is trying to get a play snap, that matters. So we know that's an advantage for us. And that's the message. We had a message before our first home game is like, embrace the home field advantage, take the home field advantage. And I know we will. And again, I think it's just a coincidence, but we definitely have to we have to, when we have an advantage in something, we got to utilize it.
I know I'd be remiss if I didn't ask what illustration you may have used in the team meeting, since you created such energy last week with your revelation of what the illustration was.
Yeah, today it was really more so. We just talked about, last week and the practice that we had, the practice intensity that we had last week, the attention to detail last week. And what we went through, and so it was just a reminder to him there with the attention to detail of, pay attention to the detail, and also the practice intensity, and just a reminder of what worked for us last week. We have a couple guys on this staff where Peyton Manning was, Jim Bob Cooter worked with Peyton Manning for a long time. Aaron Moorhead played wide receiver for Peyton, and he was just always. And then I coached for Mike McCoy. And Mike McCoy was Peyton Manning's offense coordinator. And it's just always, Mike would always say, and these guys confirmed it, Mike would always say that Peyton was always like, I'm full speed to the snap. And I don't know exactly if those are the words that he used. So we talked a little bit about that. And just so we had the attention to detail and the crispness when we walk in here for this walkthrough today.
When you self-scouted yourself in your decision-making on 4th down and 2-point conversions, where have you found yourself falling on the spectrum? And also in terms of what the charts say.
As far as how aggressive I'm being, or as far as our play selection or aggressiveness. Again, anytime, when I think about, I'm using every avenue for me for myself and for the staff and for the team to help make decisions, just like you do when you watch tape, right? You're watching the tape, you're studying the players, you're studying the scheme, you're working at your scheme, you're looking at, what the analytics might say. You take all those things to develop a plan. Well, you do the same thing when you're going with fourth down or you're going in 2-point conversions. You hear it, but you have to have a feel for, the chart, and you have to have a feel for what the game says, right? And so I would say as aggressiveness, I like to follow it because we've paid attention to it in the beginning of the week, and we talk about it during the week, like, okay, in these scenarios, here's where you would go for it potentially. We go through different scenarios that happen through the week. And so, like, when I call a game, like, that's what we do in third down too, right? We go through, we put the third downs in, we rank them, we practice, we rank them again. We have another practice. Jalen helps us rank them, and then they're ranked in a certain order. So, and you like to stick to that order unless something changes. Well, it's the same thing here. And so, I don't want to say I've veered from it at times. Like, man, we should kick it here. Let's go. Like, and so that's what we. There's been a couple times. I know that a couple times there's been like the ball's going to be on the 1 yard line. We could go for 2. I feel better about kicking it right here. And so there is. It's just a balance. Like, I think I've said this in here before, that a wise man avoids all extremes. If I go in and I'm always following the chart, and that's all I'm doing, well then, that's not how the game's played. There's a feel to it. And that's the same thing about when you rank third down. I'm following this chart. No matter what it says, well, things happen in the game and things adjust. So, again, I want to lean on it. I want to lean on it heavily, but I also know that there's a feel to this game, and I've definitely not followed it every single time, and I've went with my gut at times as well.
Two more guys.
Gannon yesterday for a story about you from the season so far, and he referenced a week 3 conversation that you guys had. You called him up on a Friday night. You said where you usually leave him alone, and he felt like you were calling more as like a friend. I don't know if you happen to remember that, and why maybe that would stick out to him or be representative of your coaching style.
I think that there's a time to get after somebody, and there's a time to build people up, right? And so I think that's a feel too, right? There's no written agenda of, hey, here's how this is supposed to work, and so when you feel like someone needs to be picked up, you do that, and sometimes the person that's doing the picking up might not even think about that, right? But I'm glad to hear that, because I know that my words meant something to Jonathan at that particular time. Because I think at the end of the day, whether it's a player or whether it's a coach, everybody needs to know. My college coach says, when I started to become when I became an NFL coach, not a head coach, NFL coach, my college coach texted me and he said, everybody needs to know they're loved and appreciated. Everybody needs to know they're loved and appreciated. And so that's always really stuck with me. And so there's times where I need that, right? I need someone to pick me up at times, right? And Frank was great with that with me, and so and the head coaches that I've had have been great at that with me. So that was after week 3 or before week 3. Week 3.
Week 3. Yeah. I was thinking it was leading in, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Clear.
So that's what I guess that's what it'd be. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The Henry Ruggs incident, obviously tragic all around, but has that prompted you to have conversations with your players, especially because you have such a young team?
Yeah. Anytime, I think another thing that I've learned along the way is you should never be passive about anything. If there's something that could be troubling some of your players, if there's something that needs to be addressed, you need to address that. And without saying too much about our team meeting this morning, I addressed it in our team meeting. It's really more about the knowledge of it, and again, all I care about is that these guys are safe, and that's all our organization cares about, is that that these guys are safe and they know the resources that they have. And so anytime something like that happens, we're going to address it as a team and not be passive about it, and talk through the issues that are out there, whether it's with this team or in the NFL in general. So.
All right. Thanks, guys.